you're talking about keeping people in the state. And West Virginia is one of 11 states that taxes equipment and inventory.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
There are 7 states that do it at the state level. 4 other ones do it at the local level. And everybody says, we got to replace the money. It's somewhere between $400 and $600 million is what they claim.
It's a big amount.
Well, but really, if you could drive up the Ohio Valley, or you drive actually, I was kind of interested to see that you've got some tool and die companies around here and some gear manufacturing companies. But if those companies leave, like I'll give you an example, there's a company called Warwood Tool up in the Northern Panhandle. Right, it's just north of Wheeling. And Warwood Tool's been in business since the 1850s. And we've been trying the last couple of years in the legislature to get rid of the equipment inventory tax. And they sent a one-page information sheet. And these people are really struggling to stay in business. Small, privately held business has been 1850. And but there are other businesses that want to expand. I got a friend that I went to high school with that does machining. And he says, I'd expand if you got rid of this equipment inventory tax. But instead what we do is we do these what they call pilot programs. You ever heard of those? That's why they got P&G. So we're giving it to the big guys. But the little guys that are existing or maybe want to start a business, they don't get it.
We use it as an incentive.
But what I'm getting at is we're stuck in this paradigm that revenue will be lost because you get rid of a tax. And I think that's a bad paradigm to be in because, first of all, in southern West Virginia, as an example, I think it was in McDowell County or one of those counties a couple of years ago, the average median home price was $24,000. Well, if you got a low tax base, obviously you're not going to collect a lot of taxes. And if you have companies leaving, the tax base goes well together. I think you pay for it twofold. Number one, you'll get some economic activity. Businesses will expand, more businesses will, and they're already giving the breaks to the big businesses anyway, so let's make it everybody, make it an even playing field. And then the other thing you implement the cost savings that we're talking about. You find those $500 million that J.B. McCuskey's talking about, and this is going to require a constitutional amendment, but you make it immediate for any new investment, and then you phase it out over a 4 or 5 year period for existing equipment and inventory. And I think West Virginia would be much better off and
That would require a constitutional amendment.
Yes.
It wouldn't be statutory.
Well, they've done it statutorily to make a legal fiction. That's how they do these pilot projects. Basically, some economic development authority will own the inventory, and then the company will pay.
And that's the economic development.
It's a legal fiction.
Yeah, we now have one in Bluefield, and the county's going to have one. Princeton's going to have one. I look at Mercer County and say we ought to have one EDA for the whole county. That's sort of how I don't like that kind of waste where we duplicate it with.
Well, and you wouldn't need these special agreements if you just got rid of it for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think between the cost savings that you do by cutting the waste, fraud, and abuse, and you phase it in, and then the other thing is the economic activity is going to do one thing. If you had 500 jobs in the Bluefield area, and of those, say 350 were local people and another 150 people came in from out of state or whatever to come to get those jobs, what would happen to the value of home prices?
We'd think it would go up, yeah.
So what happens to what happens to your tax base?
It goes up, yep.
So your revenue increases without increasing rates. If you leave the rates exactly the same. So in other words, people are stuck in this paradigm that for every dollar you cut somebody's taxes, you're going to lose $1. That's not true. Not if you have, if what you're doing is something to make you competitive with your neighboring states. Pennsylvania, as an example, does not have the equipment and inventory tax. Neither does Ohio. I'm not sure about how Virginia does it. I think it's done on a local level. But as an example, I go up in Pennsylvania every once in a while. It's not too far from my house, and go look for farm equipment or something like that. So you can drive any valley about 20, 30 miles west of Chambersburg, which is in the 81 corridor. And it's a rural valley farming, a lot of big farming, a lot of Mennonites, Amish farms. But then there'll be a little community, unincorporated oftentimes, and there'll be this big 50,000 square foot building there doing manufacturing. And it's because Pennsylvania doesn't have the equipment inventory tax.
And they have economic activity.
Yes.